Hello, my friend. This is Dave again from Right Side 50, and I would like to interrupt your day for another episode. I want to share with you an experience I had that I think is worth exploring or talked about that just occurred a day ago. It was just yet another day of my post employment life routine, wherein I get out of the house, hop on my bike, and bike roughly 9 kilometers to the gym, stay a couple of hours in the gym, training jiu-jitsu, and then bike my way back leisurely for another 9 kilometers or so, and then I get home and I play with this guy. My cat, in case you're not watching the video and just listening to the audio. And it was interesting because nothing special happened that day. Nothing unusual, at least. The bike ride going to the gym was pleasant. Training at the gym was nothing unusual. It was fun as always. It was always exciting. It's always enjoyable, tiring. But again, nothing unusual, nothing special happened, nothing out of the ordinary. And then the strange thing was biking back. Usually I'm excited to go home because again, I want to play with this guy. I want to take him out for a walk, give him some treats, play hide and seek with him. So I usually rush home and bike faster on the way back than going to the gym. And then 10 minutes into my bike ride, listening to my Taylor Swift playlist. Yes, I'm a big Swiftie, in case you don't know that. I suddenly noticed how beautiful the sky was, how much I enjoy the birds chirping around, the trees rustling above me, all the dried foliage crunching on the ground, the little river creek that I passed by seems so serene, even though it has been there day after day for the past couple of months that I've been biking. And it was weird because I got this sudden sense of calm, this sense of gratitude, this sense of happiness, I guess, that for that brief moment, I felt that I was able to define what being happy was, which is weird because we tend to take our happiness for granted. We associate being happy with buying something new or significant, going on a trip, planning for a date, something momentous, something that's worth putting a date to remember, an anniversary type of reminder because it's significant. But what that moment made me realize was the things that make us feel whole, the things that make life seem extra meaningful, happens more often than we realize, but we don't cherish it or we don't give it the right amount of respect and the right amount of gratitude to stop and acknowledge that it exists. However, the shitty things in our lives, the challenging things, the frustrating things, the things that pisses us off, that are ultimately really insignificant, there's nothing much we can do about, from traffic to politics at work to noisy neighbors or whatever it might be. We put so much attention to those to drag our day down, to drag our experiences down. And we seem to be okay with it. And the only way we seem to know how to deal with that is to spend, because almost nothing in the modern world gets by without monetary expenditure. And because we need to spend to scratch that itch, to quote unquote reward or heal ourselves, we get into the cycle of attaching more of our happiness with the means that we make an income from. And for most of us, this is work. For me, at least, I don't know for you, if you really, really, really love your job, then I congratulate you, because I do think that's an outlier than a norm. I think most people still, at the end of the day, still see their work, no matter how pleasant or unpleasant it might be. You go through it because you have to, because you have bills to pay. At the end of the day, it's a money exchange for your services and your time. Which led me to a second realization. For me personally, the last time I really thought that I felt internally happy, again, I'm not saying that I am not happy on a day to day basis. I am. Like, I don't have a lot of complaints in life, so to speak. I'm a very easy person to satisfy. But in terms of being quote unquote, I don't know how to define the word happy really, but at peace, satisfied, content, appreciative, was the 6 to 9 month span that I spent in Australia, but I was just enjoying my time there because I was working from home, and the workload wasn't too bad. Collectively, we all had this sense of zen, this sense of appreciation of life that is quite disconnected from the monetary part of it. We felt that every single day we were there, we are very happy that we got that privilege, we got that opportunity. And when that was gone and we came back, I cannot speak for my family, but for me alone, I felt lost, even though our stay there was not that long. And I felt the same way when I came back from the US back to Asia after university back in the 90s. And I was probably too young then to acknowledge why I felt so stressed and felt so unhappy when I left. I attributed it to the country, I attributed it to just being an adult now, that you have to look for jobs and things like that. And again, I was focusing a lot on the negative stuff, even though there were a lot of good things that were happening at that time. It takes being a lot older and in a state where I'm being yanked away from the corporate life long enough to allow myself to find answers to what makes me happy. And for the first couple of months, for example, that I stopped working, I was planning a lot of things. I already committed to going back to school, which I am, committed to go to train jiu-jitsu every single day. And then the rest of the middle part of the days, I've decided to pursue making videos, treating this like a therapy session for me. But going back to the happiness paradox is that I don't think a lot of us can define what being happy is. We might say that, oh, I'm happiest when I travel. But is it the act of travel that is making you happy, or is it something else that you get to do when you are traveling that is making you feel good? Because if you're traveling and the stuff that you think that is making you happy, which is eating new foods or buying something exotic from another country, I don't think that is a definition of what makes you happy, because you can get that probably in your home country if you pay the right amount of money. Like in social media, there's like, it's pretty popular where, excuse me, mister, can I finish recording my video without you occupying the camera? Can you sit here, please? I guess not. So, okay, thank you, honey. I think that a lot of us use spending as an excuse, as a band aid to fill up what we think we need to be happy, because we have not defined what that is. And I honestly don't think that we can define what happiness is. Happiness is a never ending scale that our hedonic tendencies will always adapt to. Meaning, whenever we hit a certain level of happiness, we get used to that really, really quickly, and we find the next high, we find the next peak, we find the next peak. And that's where the danger of using something external, such as monetarily acquiring things, whether it's experiences or physical items, and it doesn't really solve anything. I've lost a significant amount of cash flow, of income, since stopping working. But because of, I guess, luckily, our entire family, we don't like acquiring things because we feel that our house is cluttered enough and we don't buy a lot of things. It's a struggle, but I have developed this itch because I love to shop. But I love to shop as in a way that I like to shop, like window shop, whether it's virtual or physical. But I don't like paying for stuff, so I'm a bit cheap that way. So to give you an example, like I love making coffee. I have a coffee machine here that we got in Australia, so it's almost like 8 years old. Right from the time that we bought it, I told my wife that we'll use it until it breaks, and I can't wait to upgrade to a semi-pro machine. And within that 8 year span, there were a lot of times where very comfortable upgrading the kit, but I decided not to because it served its purpose. But in reality, I just realized recently, since my wife started going back to school full time as well in the mornings, that the reason why that silly machine makes me happy was because for the past 8, 9 years, it gave me the opportunity and the privilege to make my wife and I a cup of latte, a cup of flat white every morning with intention to spend time together. And it wasn't planned or anything. I make the coffee, she sits around waiting for it. I ask her for order, like what coffee does she want? Does she want syrup in it, etc., etc. And I go through this mini barista routine where I make my latte art and all that stuff and give it to her. And took me 8 years to realize how precious that was because nowadays she leaves really early and I don't have the chance to make her that every morning. And I stopped making coffee for myself as well because I just felt like it's not worth the time. I'll just get a coffee downstairs or I just skip coffee. Those little things made me realize that those are the things that actually made me whole, those little moments. And that happened every day for the past 8 years. And I never really gave that credit. I just saw it as a excuse for me to practice coffee making and latte art. But it wasn't that. I could not care less how my latte art really looked because I'm not a full-time barista. I'm not a professional. I don't do it for anyone but myself and my wife. And that moment of epiphany a couple of days ago, when I was sitting there, I was riding my bike really slow and just absorbing everything. I realized that I see the same people jogging and walking and biking between that 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock time frame. I never spent time just looking up and waving and say hi to them. And in that day itself, I decided to try it out. And I did. And because we're going opposite directions, it's not like we got to chat and everything. But just a simple act of looking up, smiling at the person from afar, give them a wave, and in that split second of moment, and they stare back at you, gave you a smile, and just give you a nod, that moment of like human connection made me so satisfied with the environment, that the fact that I can bike this path every day and have like somewhat of an acquaintance without speaking a single word. For the next couple of days, I've done the same things. And today, like one of the old guys who bikes that path was the one greeted me first. I'm like, cool. That is amazing. I don't know when we're gonna have the chance to like stop and talk and get to know at least each other's name, but I feel that that's a great start. But those little things made me realize that happiness is unmeasurable. That means it's a pipe dream to chase for happiness. But defining what is enough, defining what fills your heart, your soul, gives you peace, what makes you feel content and makes you feel grateful is something that sticks and it defines who you are. And I think it will help everybody to narrow things down quite a bit and put things into perspective as to what is important and put their energy there more so that we can progressively move towards a point where we know where we have to revert back to when we're overwhelmed, rather than trying to claw up to chase for that happiness light at the end of the tunnel, because there is no end until we leave this planet. I don't really know if it resonates with you or not, because this is a bit more of an emotional video for me rather than a topic that I pre-planned from my list of topics that I have for the channel. But this was such an epiphany moment for me that I don't know how to share it without boring other people who are not interested. And I hope that whoever you are who stumbled upon this and you're just looking for a little spark to help you get out of a bad state of mind. I hope this video picked up a little bit of your energy, of your emotions, of your spark to help you have a nice day and help you build resilience to love yourself and to give yourself some credit that you are in a space where there are a lot of things that may be already giving you a lot of joy and satisfaction. You just need some time to acknowledge them. And once you do, I don't think you'll ever lose it. So I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed this rambling. I wish you find your little spark of glow, of happiness, even though it's not a goal, but it fills up your bottle of satisfaction. And to fill up your container to the point of enough, that you know you have more than what you need and you're happy with that. So that's all I have for you. Again, this is Dave. If you enjoyed this, I hope you come back and watch future videos and like, comment, and subscribe. But seriously speaking, drop a comment, leave your story. I would love to read them, and I hope to see you again. Have a good day. Bye.